Hello, happy Friday. Happy Good Friday. Did you know this weekend is Easter? I didn't until just a few days ago, and then I forgot. So I just remembered this morning. Yes, it is. It is Easter weekend. Jesus is coming back on Sunday again. It's a chance for us to come together in peace and love. And we all know that's not going to happen. In fact, that's one of the things I want to talk about today: affective polarization. Why does everybody hate each other? Why is everybody so black-pilled and cynical on their fellow man, their fellow countrymen? Um, this is a very broad topic. I'm going to just try to hit a few highlights of it to lay the foundation. Then I'm going to open up the panel. Hey, Leggy and RW. Also, we have a special treat from Moose today that I'm going to play after the topic and before the panel, and then we will get into a discussion. I want to hear your stories of where do you stand politically, and what is your relationship to everyone else in your life on social media around politics. I noticed this personally after the election of Donald Trump. That is when politics went from fighting at the dinner table to actively hating fellow Americans and seeing them as evil. Just their vote alone was akin to drowning puppies or kittens. You were a morally contemptible person for just the act of voting. Now, here in America, it is my belief in an advanced, civilized society, everyone has the right to cast their vote however they want. That is their voice. Your vote is sacred. When you go in that voting booth or you fill out your vote by mail paper, you don't have to explain, justify to anybody. That is your expression of your political will. You can do with it what you want within the allowed candidates on the ballot. I don't think any vote for any reason should be made into a moral issue. But I did notice after Trump's first election, it was. In fact, in my own field, in peer support, we had regular peer support groups and meetings, and we would get together and professional networking events, all of that stuff. And one of our peers, it turned out, had voted for Donald Trump. He was a really good peer, too. He was good at what he did. And the gossip got around that he had voted for Trump. And there were some peers that started circulating the suggestion that he be banned from any future peer events, not allowed to come to any more meetings, not allowed to come to any more of our networking events, trainings, professional development, any of that, simply because of his vote for Donald Trump. So that didn't sit well with me at all. And I said right away, like my instincts kicked in, absolutely not. Absolutely not. He has the right to vote for whoever he wants. We are all peers here. This is not a political profession. We're here to help people and support people where they are. We're person-centered. His vote has nothing to do with his ability to do his job. So that's an example of what I noticed very early on. I've been on the receiving end of it myself a lot of times, especially lately up here where I am now. What is affective polarization? That's a big fancy word for people being so turned off of somebody else for whatever reason. In the case it's used generally today, it's for political reasons, political disagreements, political opinions, political beliefs, positions. It can also be religious or moral, but generally in today's context, it's used in a political way. The emotion behind it is contempt or disgust, particularly moral and social disgust. If you believe a certain thing or if you voted a certain way, you're not just wrong, you are a bad person. You are the wrong kind of person. There's three parts to it. It others you, the person that it's directed at becomes the other. They no longer become a fellow citizen or a fellow American or whatever country you live in, a part of the community. They become something other. They become an outsider. You develop an aversion to them as a person, and you begin to moralize the act beyond what the act itself is. There's another interpretive layer that's laid onto the act that becomes moral. I'm trying to hit the highlights here. Let's talk about why it's happening. It's happening because historically, you can trace this in Congress and the way Congress has voted over the last several decades. The parties themselves, at least here in America, and mostly what I'm going to be talking about is affective polarization here in America. So you'll just have to extrapolate to whatever country you may be from. Congress has becoming more and more split on issues and voting further and further apart. There used to be more of an ideological center where the moderate representatives from each side could cluster around, negotiate, make compromises, make deals. The Congress people in general are moving further and further away from that ideological center line and voting more and more along party lines. So there's stronger party discipline on each side. And I think some of that's trickling down to the general population, or maybe even a reflection of the general political will. There's actual values at conflict on some of these issues. There are new things to fight about. We didn't have gender ideology back in my day. We didn't have some of the more extreme political positions that are emerging today to fight over. So there are actual values in conflict. Abortion got re-injected into the discourse over the recent overturning of Roe v. Wade. So now abortion is another hot topic that people kind of had resolved themselves over for a long time. Politics is becoming tied in with identity. So along with your race, your class, your heritage, your religion, your culture, where you may be from, politics is becoming another identity layer, less so than it used to be. Back in my day, Republicans and Democrats could live in the same family, they could hang out at the same dinner table, they could go to the same parties and gatherings together, and it didn't define the person. The person was still their profession or their background or their career, their interests, their hobbies. Now politics has become whatever political side you're on or whatever political position you take now becomes part of your identity and defines you as a person for a lot of people from the outside. And it creates a barrier for them all of this erodes one's ability to see somebody as an individual and be person-centered, which I talked about last week as, to me, a superior value in an advanced civilization like ours over a tribalistic value like reducing people to groups and seeing them as just part of a group more so than an individual within that group. Also, we've developed echo chambers. There's entire social media platforms now where you can go and talk to people who think exactly like you do and reinforce these narratives that you have about the world, about reality. And a lot of this comes down to myth. Ultimately, I think politics has become more and more of a current mythology now that religion is on the decline. And I think politics is filling in for that mythological gap it's my thesis that humans need to survive. We cannot survive on logic and reason alone. That can only take us so far. There are entire domains of human life that it's not competent to address. And for that, we need some kind of myth, story, shared set of values, etc. And the less religion is able to fill that role, the more political tribes begin to take over that function. Also, here's a big one. Social media. I'm struggling currently with my numbers. In fact, if you can tell everybody I'm live, that would really, really help because the algorithm is really working against me lately. Even regular viewers are not even aware when I'm on or that I'm on. Every day, Monday through Saturday, 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific. If you can get the word out that's where I am, including today, that would help a lot. Hang on one second. Um, to get those numbers, outrage drives numbers. The more they can sensationalize a story or a narrative, the more they can get you to feel a strong emotion like outrage. The more you're going to share that post or that video, the more you're going to talk about it, the more you're going to engage with it. Modern civilization is sort of designed to be boring. It's designed to be procedural, bureaucratic. Sometimes it can move very slowly. It's not very interesting other than to policy geeks. It's not supposed to be that exciting because it's taking us from a less dangerous, less hostile, less dramatic world to something more stable and functional. But we pay a price for that in the drama value that we can get from it. So anything that's presented as more dramatic, more outrageous than it actually is going to get more numbers because of the way our brains are wired. We're still wired for the jungle, and we're still wired to like worry about the tiger that's in the bushes or the asteroid headed for Earth, even if that's less likely to be the case in the modern world than in earlier times. So social media is driving a lot of this. It's reinforcing and rewarding getting locked into these echo chambers. So all of this contributes to being, if you see somebody that's in your out group or not in your tribal in group, you tend to see them now as an enemy or a threat rather than just somebody with a different belief or opinion, which would be the liberal pluralistic view of them. And what that helps to create is this bunker mentality where people are locked in to their tribes. They're emotionally polarized against anybody outside of that tribe. They tend to see them as more suspicious than they probably are in real life. They're more cynical about them. They're less trusting. We've moved from high trust to low trust. Tribalism and moral managerialism works best in a environment that's under threat, in a hostile environment, when there's an actual danger to protect people from. In a liberal pluralistic society where the threats have been reduced because of our advanced civilization and our capabilities, there's less of a hostile environment to kind of rally people against. And so in order to keep tribalism going, it has to constantly manufacture this narrative of threat or hostility and low trust, high enemy ratio. This happens in religion. It happens, and it's now happening in politics, where you have an in group that feel like it's in a hostile world that's being threatened by enemies, whether physical, spiritual, social, political. So that keeps everybody locked into this bunker mentality. And the cure for all of this is liberal pluralism. It's dialogue, it's conversation, it's being person-centered. It's getting to see your fellow man as an individual, not as a member of some enemy group. And through conversation and dialogue, getting to know them as a three-dimensional person, getting to see depth to them and more sides to them than just whatever political opinion you're collapsing into this narrow moral framework. But that's not going to happen if everybody's in a bunker mentality and they're scared to go out and have a conversation because it feels like betraying the tribe. It feels like consorting with the enemy. It feels like supporting values that you dislike. There's some beliefs in extreme political circles that just having conversation with somebody from the other side is supporting those positions. So if you have if a Democrat has a conversation with a Republican, they are supporting harm against trans people just by talking to another person because you're enabling them. You're platforming them. You're giving them a chance for their ideas to be aired. All of that is not going to reduce affective polarization. It's going to keep it going and possibly even intensify it. So one of my goals on this channel is to, and you've seen this happen. I've been doing this for years. We have people from all points of the political spectrum that you can imagine. They all gather here. We have, I don't know if I'll say normal, but we have perfectly adult more or less civil conversations. We're able to coexist in the same space, even though we disagree on policy and have different opinions. I've had trans communist co-hosts before. We get right-wingers, right-wing Christians on this channel. We get people from the left. We have a Canadian socialist in the chat right now that I saw earlier. It is possible to coexist and have disagreements and not see each other as evil and not take every interaction as a threat or something that's morally corrupting society. So I think I want to leave it there for now. I'm going to get some comments, and then we're going to look at some art from our AI artist, Moose. Hello, Snowfire. Pretty sure Easter's a celebration. No, I didn't say the second coming, but that's when he returns from, at least in my religion, the Catholic Church, Good Friday is when he descends into hell, and then he comes back on Sunday. They roll back the tomb, and he's resurrected. So that's him coming back to the world. I never said second coming. I don't believe Easter is the rapture every year. You are correct about this fact, not lost. Congress, and this can be traced with data. Congress has been moving further and further apart over the decades. It's not normal to have a society. I don't know, like normal compared to what? It is what it is. What's normal when it comes to humans anyway? We're so diverse as a species, and there's so many possibilities and variations. I'd say I don't think it's ideal to have a society psychologically split into two political camps, but it may be understandable. If you look into it, there may be perfectly sensible reasons why it's happening. I don't know if you want to call that normal or not. Are you having false outrage from the false outrage? I actually am not assuming that the outrage is false. I think a lot of people that are affectively polarized genuinely believe in these values, and they genuinely believe they're under threat. Like the No Kings people, I think a lot of them, and I was looking at some of the protest footage. Y'all, they're older than I am. These are boomers. These are the old Gen X people. There were hardly any young people at these protests. This is the last gasp of the post-hippie order that I grew up with. I am not worried or threatened about these people at all. But I do believe in their world. They genuinely believe democracy is under threat. Trump is an authoritarian tyrant, all of whatever narrative they have going on in their head. And they have the right to go out and make signs and express about it, I guess. Hey, Moose, I'm about to play your video. Yes, not lies. It really is. I find this a very true statement. I experience this with you often. So I'm glad you have the self-awareness to see yourself in that. Hopefully. Yeah, the projection. That's another thing. I think a lot of this, the people that are most concerned about violence against their in-group are the ones most tolerating and in some cases even advocating for violence against the out-group. The ones that are most advocating for getting to know trans people as individuals and getting to know gay and lesbian people as individuals are the ones also least likely to try to get to know a conservative or Republican as an individual. So they're preaching one thing and they're modeling a different thing. So they're not even consistent from their rhetoric to their behavior. And that's a big tip off for me too, that you're dealing with tribalism and moral managerialism more than you are liberal pluralism, which I believe is the baseline operating system for Western democracy. All right, let's see. Well, I don't know. Is it giving you any different insight than the people that are spending 1,000 years studying on social media? Has the technology advanced your understanding of it? Speaking of, we have a new Moose video. It's called Smile Like a Weapon. It's along the same themes that you've come to expect from him, the mask versus the person underneath. But he has a neat little intro I'm going to play before that. And Snow, you have a cameo in this one as well. So let's take a look at this, and then I'll play the video.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm proud to announce that the best content is coming soon.
Wait! I thought I was the best content. Was there a meeting? Did I miss the meeting?
To clarify, you are premium content. I was referring to the broader content initiative.
Let's not confuse the people. I'm the reason they click. Oh, come on now. He's the reason they stay confused.
You are not the whole show.
Neither are you.
The best content
Is obviously us together.
When is it dropping?
Coming soon, if the Jester Queen approves the final cut.
I won't.
Ladies and gentlemen.
That the AI technology for syncing up lips and voices has drastically improved. So that's an experiment he's doing with the new technology. So look, he's going to be able to do more actual characters that have things to say now. So look for that. And this is to introduce the new video, Smile Like a Weapon. I'm going to play it, and we will open up the panel after that. All right, here you go. Latest from Moose, A Million Sparks. He's in the chat right now. Smile like a weapon. And I'll come back when it's over.
Yeah. Keep smiling. They like you better that way. Paint it bright, keep it looking clean. Say you're good even when you're bleed. Polish paint till it don't show through. They don't want real, they want the version of you. Say I'm fine, yeah, you say it twice. Wrap your stress in a joke disguise. Laugh it off, keep the vibe on high. Even when something inside you dies. They don't ask, they don't wanna know. They just want you to play the role. Keep it light, keep it easy, keep all your problems buried deep. So you smile like a second skin. Hide the war that you're fighting in. Every grin, just another shield. Truth gets buried, never revealed. If you break, they look away. So you fake it just to stay. Smile like a weapon, keep it loaded tight. Hide your pain in the perfect light. They don't care what's underneath. Just keep the mask looking. Smile like a weapon, cut them clean. Pretty face on a dark routine. You can fall, but don't let them stay. Keep it bright for the gallery. You ever feel like you can't be real? Like honesty breaks the deal. Say too much and they back away. So you edit truth just to make them stay. It's a game and you learn it quick. Keep it fun, keep it counterfeit. Every post gotta shine just right. Even when you're losing the fight, you get praise for the things you fake. While the real you starts to fade. Validation's a double blade. Cut you slow while you're getting paid. And I get it, I played it too. So the version they all approve. But that smile started feeling wrong. Like I've been wearing it too long. What if I drop it? What if I show it? Would you stay? Or would you go quick? Smile like a weapon, keep it loaded tight. Hide your pain in the perfect light. They don't care what's underneath. Just keep the mask looking sweet. Smile like a weapon, cut them clean. Pretty face on a dark routine. You can fall, but don't let them stay. Keep it bright for the gallery. Smile. They don't wanna see the rest.
You're muted, Jeff. You got to unmute, buddy. You're welcome.
Did you get the donkey?
Yeah, by the time I got down there, the donkey was already where he was supposed to be. So just me motivating to do the job worked enough.
Okay, well, good.
Yeah. I was
What's
making
up?
some notes.
Oh,
So I think perceived moral high ground is the reason why people punch down on other people. Their motivation towards punching down on other people. I think we're raised our whole lives to be in different camps, you know, in sports, religion, politics, whatever you can think of. It's like you're bred by media or society or something, not just yourself, to think that you have a superiority or a higher value or understanding than people in other camps or on the other side. And I guess my question towards that is, who's benefiting from that division among society? Like if you look at politics, parties fighting against each other, I can see parties benefiting from that. Not the nation so much, but the party. So I don't know. What do you think?
that's what you described sounds like tribalism, and how much of that is just our wiring too, our primitive monkey wiring as
I
well.
think that we
Because
do have
like I
aspects.
don't think that we're like non-tribal creatures, and then we're exposed to things that suddenly program us to be tribal. I think we come into the world that way because of
I
our
think
animal
that we
nature.
do have an aspect in our humanity that is, you know, tribal. But I do also believe that as I've grown up, the things that I've watched has been fuel for division. You know, like as a skater, you know, you're motivated by the other skaters. That fruit booters, you know, the inline skaters, man, you don't, they're gay. They're stupid. You can't be friends with them. They're just like the stupid stuff like that. That's not. I wouldn't have thought of that myself. I would have been fine to skate with whoever.
Really? But did you not skate with the fruit booters because of that?
I didn't push that ideology. I was happy for anybody that wanted to skate, but I absolutely saw the division and the bullshit and the fighting that was involved with that type of stuff. That's just one small example of a
Did you have
non-inherent.
cliques at your high school?
Absolutely. I was the guy that sat at everybody's table like you did. Like I was the clown that walked around. I wasn't anarchy, but I was not molded. So, but every table was a different clique. There's the jocks, there was the skaters, there was the band, there was the drum corps, there was there's all these different things. And this was a massive high school. And then I got to college and there was the same shit at these different tables. I'm like, is there a point where I'm going to go to a facility and it's like people just mingle, or is it always camps?
I've seen it in workplaces too. So I think that's what I'm saying. To me, it's just the human norm to group up with people that you resonate with or that share your or whatever keeps people together. You like their personality better, you have the same interest, whatever. Um hang on, I lost it.
Good.
Keep going, it'll come back. It's
I
something related to
can
tribal.
understand.
Oh, and who benefits? I would say that the human, the tribe, like tribalism exists for a reason. So in a way, it gives us a sense of belonging, community. It meets our social needs. We can grow as an individual. Because I don't think the individual in isolation has as much developmental potential as within a group. I think that's what helps us to grow beyond just our individuality.
If you're looking at it from the good faith aspect of the benefits of a tribe, I agree with you. But punching down and division and fighting against other tribes, I don't believe that benefits. And people that are willing to have a tribe and rile them up, like in politics, to war against the other side, is that actually benefiting the party, or who is that benefiting?
Do you think it's possible for humans not to punch down?
I do.
Or is
I
that part of our
meet
wiring as
individuals.
well?
I believe that it's a moral that you hold on to or not. I've met people that have the moral that you don't punch down as a standard. I've met people that will punch down when they're cornered or when they're in certain scenarios, but I've also met people that won't punch down ever. So I do think it exists.
But it's like it's an achieved
Give me
trait.
until I come up, and then you can come down and play.
Because I think the punching down part is one way that tribes solidify against each other. So if you think your tribe is the best, then you're going to naturally see anybody outside your tribe as down. Whether you punch on them or not may not be the case, but I think you're going to see them as less valuable to you than your own tribe. And so that could lead to displays of trying to mark that, like kind of like marking your territory.
So on Discord is my latest example because I'm not really social and public anymore. But working with servers, I've moved into servers that were extremely toxic and dead, and was given the ability to rework that server and using a new standard of respect and no ad hominem and, equality, true equality. The server came back to life and people appreciated the experience. So I know that it's possible for people to want to be a part of a tribe and having pride in that tribe and respecting it and understanding why you appreciate it without needing to punch down or treat people like crap. You don't, because that punching down and treating people like crap creates war and continued warfare. Where if a group's not doing that, in my opinion, they're more appealing. So I would think that they would grow just as well, if not better, than a group that's going to be loud and violent.
Well, it's going to have to be a group of these very advanced humans that are somehow able to not punch down. But if everybody's punching down on each other, like everybody outside their tribe, then it's just a norm. So I don't think anybody can complain about being punched down on if they're probably doing it to some other group themselves. So you have like the people at the very, very bottom that are probably getting punched down on, but we don't know that they wouldn't also punch down if they were in a different position. And then you have the people at the top who somehow transcended that human impulse to punch down on outside tribes. But then in the middle, you have everybody kind of doing it to each other.
Well, I mean, the camp that I think I'm in is awareness of punching down. So I haven't transcended to the point where I won't do it, but I'm not comfortable and I don't appreciate doing it. So I'll catch myself if I'm thinking those thoughts. And
I always assume people are aware when they're doing it.
I'm not sure.
I don't know how they cannot be.
Maybe they are. Like you said, if it's the norm, then why would you even notice you're doing it? Because there's nothing wrong with it. Where I have a moral issue.
Notice. It's normal to eat and sleep too, but I still notice when I'm doing that. Like it starting at an early, I grew up with siblings. We were constantly teasing each other, and at school we had little cliques. We were constantly picking on some kids, and I terrorized some of the kids at school just because I couldn't even tell you why. So I've seen it happen at some very, very early developmentally. That what you calling punching down?
I'm not saying it's not the norm either. I do believe it's the world. It's the norm of the world. But I also believe, and it's a spiritual belief through the Bible, I guess, but that as we grow, we have the ability to mature and not be what we were before. I'm sure other mindsets, secular as well, have that same concept. But if we're just going to grow and punch down the rest of our lives, that's kind of sad.
Well, I believe that too, that we can transcend tribalism through advanced forms of development and civilization, which is why I push those so hard here. What is an example of a group that doesn't punch down?
The whole group, I don't know if I've ever met a whole group. I've met groups that have more than one or two people that are like that, a more wholesome group, but I can't think of a group there no one does it. Like, for example, like in the missionary field, a lot of that experience was really, really wholesome people that would sacrifice themselves to do good constantly. But even amongst that group, me included, are people that aren't there yet. You know, they want to be and they believe in it, but they're still themselves and haven't reached that point yet.
And what exactly does punching down?
Punching down to me is when you believe you have a moral high ground.
Well, I do believe my values are superior. So I do believe that I have the moral high ground when it comes to the things that are important to me, because I think they're better than what I see a lot of other people doing. And so that's why I stand on them and I defend them so hard, because I do believe in their superior value for society. But other groups are going to say the same thing about their values.
All right, let me restate that then. Believing you have a moral value and disrespecting people that you think have a lesser value than you do. I'm perfectly fine with having a conversation about values and having and standing up for them or whatever. But if your modus operandi is to shit on the other people that you think have a lesser understanding than you, that's punching down.
Yeah.
I think dialogue is superior to violence. I have a hard time not signaling that when I'm around people that have more tolerance for violence than I do, or are more okay with that as a value than I am. I'm not going to pretend like, oh, that's just as cool as dialogue. Dudes, you do your thing, I'll do my dialogue thing. I try to make it very clear in those situations that I believe my value is superior to yours. I believe you're more savage, more primitive, less sophisticated as a human, to the degree that you embrace violence as a solution. And I have no problem signaling that. And if that's punching down, then I will proudly punch down on people whose values are more primitive than my own. I feel like treating people as individuals is superior than reducing them to a tribal membership or group label or something. And if there's people around me doing that, I am going to try to make that seem less valuable to society than my values. So is any of that punching down?
Well,
You probably have religious values that you believe are better than some of the hedonistic values that you see other people embracing.
absolutely.
Are you okay with just, hey man, do your thing? I personally don't agree with it, but I'm not gonna voice that or make you feel any kind of way about it.
I'm trying to be able to communicate my understanding of something and why to the people that have different understandings. And if it's a biblical moral that's in opposition to a worldly moral, then it's going to differ and be different. But my goal is to not belittle the individual that has a different understanding. And if it's a situation like you're talking about like bullying a bully, I was just in one of the Artemis live feeds, and there's this guy that was punching down on a flat earther, and it's just like I started bullying that person. So it doesn't matter what they were talking about; they were just belittling somebody else, and I instantly triggered and started to troll the person that was making it their job to pick on the other person.
ARW, how did you get that? Is that like just AI in the background?
Yeah.
Did you intend for that to be around your head?
I intended it for it to be in the center of the screen. That's it.
It's so weird. I just was wondering because it's just like it's centered right around your head.
He's part of the Antler Brigade.
That's
Yeah.
pretty wild, man. Yeah, like your antler is like totally different.
It's new age.
So
Good.
even if you don't express it, because we're talking about like moral superiority and judging people as morally inferior to your own morals, even if you don't express it,
The difference is
I think it's still normal to do it. When I'm around people who have values that I believe are less than my values, I judge them, whether I express that judgment or not. I don't see them as moral equals.
So in my mind, how it works is that where I am now, I don't look at them as less than me because I do stupid shit and I have my own problems. But I see what they're doing and believe that they're gonna have hardships and woe because of some of these decisions. So I look at it as that. I don't look at it they're worth less than I am.
I don't know if I make a evaluation about their worth as a person, but I definitely judge them. I definitely think differently about them than I do about people that share my own values.
I think that if you can see and different beliefs, it helps you to have the ability to have a conversation with anybody. If you have preconceived judgments and notions, you're most likely not going to have conversations with those people.
Which is part of the polarization I was talking about earlier. It keeps you from engaging in those conversations. And Shift, it's the algorithm. Is that happening to you too? And you were talking about somebody earlier today that has a lot of followers that it's also happening to. YouTube changed how they're promoting channels now.
Go ahead.
I can have a conversation with somebody that's pro-violence. I'm still going to think that their way is shittier than my way. I'm still going to think violence is less civilized than dialogue. That doesn't mean I can't have a conversation with that person.
Yeah, I agree. And by shittier,
I have conversations all the time with people that I don't disagree, that I don't agree with their values.
Right.
So for me, it's not a barrier to conversation, but that's because dialogue is one of my values.
Shittier meaning cause more problems for themselves or for others. Is that what shittier means, or what is shittier?
I think they are contributing less positively to the kind of society I want to live in. I think they're keeping society in a form that I'm trying to take it out of. I think it's regressive to a more primitive form of society that I feel like undercuts all of the achievements of living in an advanced civilization like we have, where we can all coexist and dialogue together and still keep a country going.
Okay. My one note that I didn't share is one option you have that you can try and help the algorithm for at least reach of finding your channel is if you take this live stream and you edit certain parts out of it and make a short.
I know myself enough to know that's not going to happen.
Okay, I'm just saying you already have
it's good advice. Every single human and AI has been telling me that forever. I just know my limitations. And I need to be very realistic with myself about that.
At the end of the day, then you just have to be happy with the conversations you're having, even if two people are in the conversation. And then at that point, you've satisfied your purpose.
I just know me. It's a Jeff thing. It's not going to happen. Yeah, but Joey, that's because you get the numbers because of the drama. The drama is meeting YouTube's algorithm requirements more than my type of thing is. Plus, you do shorts, don't you, and videos? Because that's part of it. If you do only lives and you don't have any other content, you get bumped down in the algorithm as well. Because YouTube wants people to go to your channel and have content to interact with. And most people don't watch the lives once they're over and done.
Once they're deads.
Yeah. Yes, the lives become deads. So I have a channel full of deads. And the only value this really has to YouTube is right now in the moment when it's live.
Let me ask a question in response to the problem. What is the solution to a society that has such strong tribalism and the inability to communicate with each other?
I look at this in the framework of these opened and closed myths. And to me, this happens when a myth is starting to close off and become more rigid, authoritarian, and dogmatic. So I think the solution for me is trying to open it more again. And people are going to resist that, especially if people are benefiting from some kind of power dynamic in that closed structure. So I think dialogue. I think that all the values of liberal pluralism that I named: dialogue, person-centered, seeing people as an individual over the group, tolerance for other viewpoints and perspectives, not seeing somebody that disagrees with you as evil, just as another person in society.
I think that
I don't know. I have no idea.
I
Because
think that
RW, he's a regular. RW is here every day and he watches every day. And he didn't even know I was going to be live today. So it's not even making it into his feed. And the algorithm should be tuned to him more than anybody else.
I think that people have it very easy in the United States of America, and without a need of survival, there's no need for them to come outside of their little bubbles and figure out how to survive and become part of a team or a group. So honestly and sadly, I think it's going to make some major conflict between the United States of America and somebody else where we're actually, our lives are at risk and we have to work together.
Like the giant squid.
Whatever it takes, Godzilla, whatever, something that we actually have to work together to figure out and solve the problem instead of just bitching about it online.
I think giving, because there's a social cost to moving outside of your tribe to have those, especially the more closed it is. The more closed, the more of a social risk it is to have those conversations with outsiders. So I think creating environments where that can happen and making it okay for it to happen, giving people permission for it to happen, or reducing the social cost that they pay for that to happen somehow. So you create the spaces and you make the entry into those spaces. You lower the risk of entry into those spaces.
I mean, if you're doing
Now,
it
I
from
can make the spaces. I'm very good at creating
Right.
the spaces and keeping them going, but I don't know how to make them less risky for people that are in very closed tribes, because that seems to be a dynamic from within that tribe that I haven't cracked.
So you're thinking bottom up instead of top down. So if you're creating a space, which you have the ability to do and the know-how to create the space, there's no one at the top that's motivating people into that space. So you have to have an organic, slow growth experience of people that stumble upon or are seeking out that kind of space. But if the
Right.
government was a space, an entity that was motivating people to work together and be on the same team and figure things out and have a coexisting society, I think that would give more people the opportunity to think in that mindset instead of throwing shit at each other back and forth.
Well, it used to be that in my generation, it was much more that way. And it was modeled in schools. It was modeled on television. It was modeled through the discourse that we're a nation where people can disagree. There's multiple viewpoints. We don't all have to think the same. I don't know what messages people are currently getting, but in my generation, it felt like a place where all that was okay. I had a mixed political family and we got along fine and still had all different political opinions. There are people now that will disown family members if they vote on the wrong side of the political spectrum, both sides. There are people that will not. I ran into someone the other day that flat out said, I do not socialize with Trump supporters. If you were a
I
Trump
have the same
supporter,
in my own
I will
family.
not socialize with you.
In my own family, I can't talk about religion or politics with certain people in the family because it pisses them off. So you just don't have those conversations. You have superficial small talk, and that's the level that's allowed. And if you go past that, you start to step on personal beliefs. And if there's a difference in those personal beliefs, that's just too much to handle, and it causes a problem, which sucks for me because I'm an individual that's all about deep and meaningfuls, because that's the only point of having a conversation to me.
I don't know why other beliefs are so threatening, like have that effect on people.
I know that some people do not like conflict and they get anxiety over it. I know that's a thing. There's also, I'm sure, hatred. Some aspect of the other person's belief makes them angry and triggers them. and that's not an anxiety thing, that's something else. But if you're family, if you're literally like blood or a in-law, like there should be some, you know, olive branch or some shit that allows you to be able to at least talk to them. I don't know. I don't get it.
I can't imagine disowning a family member or even a friend over a political. Like I would disown a family member or a friend if they did something to me. If they took some kind of action that harmed me, that would
Right.
cause me to not want to have that person in my life. Not
Right.
just people believe and think all kind of things. All of us do. That's to me, that's not a reason to eject somebody. They have to actually do something. It has to be behavior based.
There's also the aspect of defensiveness when someone is saying things that make you possibly need to change. So let's say I'm smoking crack, right? And someone's going to start talking to me about how crack is bad for me and it causes problems in the family.
It is bad for you, and you should.
Well, I'm just using it as an example. I agree. But even if it's true, that makes me defensive because I don't want to stop and I don't want to change. And that means I'm more than happy to stop talking to you and be somewhere else. So if people have that same response to religion, politics, anything that makes their core values or their mind think that they're being asked to change or that they're not good enough, would cause that type of response.
That's kind of self-exile then. That's you exiling yourself from those people.
That's fair.
Which I guess people have the right to do. I have less of a problem with self-exile because that's at least self-determination than other people ostracizing people for their opinions.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. If someone wants to be in a group and someone else is kicking them out of the group, that's definitely a shittier situation than an individual that leaves because they have their own mind that's going against them.
And people, if a topic comes up in an adult world, in my version of an adult world, if a topic comes up that you don't want to talk about, all you have to do is tell the person, hey, I don't care to talk about that, or I'm not interested in having that conversation. And that should end it right there. It doesn't have to break down the entire relationship.
Yeah, even yesterday when we were talking about Charlie Kirk, I just didn't have the time or energy, and I said that, and you backed off like instantly.
Oh,
you just ended the conversation. So I agree that you have the ability to do that. Not everybody has that ability.
I don't get anything out of having a conversation that somebody doesn't want to have. It's conversations go a lot better when it's something both people want to talk about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for solution, I don't know. I think it's cool to be able to create spaces. You're creating a digital space. If you create a
I'm trying to create both because I'm trying to take this in person. I've started weekly discussion nights in person where people can come out and have the same type of conversations we have here. So I'm trying to get that off the ground. So I'm trying to do it both. Real life.
How far out is that?
So far, I mean, we only just started. It's only like the second week, so we'll see.
Oh, so it is already started.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Well, awesome.
But these things start slow. I used to do them a lot in Vegas and New Orleans in Seattle when I lived there. So sometimes they take a while to start. Hey, Trexty. Oh, Trexty, I remember you. Hey. Nice to see you. So yes, creating the space is one thing. Having a place where it can happen. Now, how to get the people to those spaces? If the problem is their emotional resistance to interacting with people that don't share their worldview, I don't know how to break through that part of it from the inside.
Right.
But
so
I remember growing up, we had this family that went to our school that was Jehovah's Witness, and they kept to themselves. They lived a few blocks from us in the neighborhood. They never played with the other kids. They would go to school and then go home and stay in their house. When they were at school, they wouldn't talk to anybody. They were not allowed to participate in Halloween parties or any of like the holiday school activities we did. And it was very hard to include them and get to know them because they were so voluntarily self-isolating. And so
Are
if
they
people are
Adventists?
that locked into a closed group, I don't know how to like break them out of it without some kind of motivation on their part.
Was that a religious thing?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I mean, just being welcoming, I think is all you really can do, because who's to say that you even should change their way of life? That's your self-will, right?
Yeah, but I mean, I guess I just want to I like to try to bring as many people out of their little bubble as I can. So if somebody's that entrenched in a bubble, I want to at least know that I've made an attempt to let them know that there's a door they can walk through if they want.
Right. I think being welcoming and sacrificing time to create the opportunity is a noble deed. Like, I have the opportunity now on a large Discord server to create events, and I have the opportunity even tonight to create, like, it's called a weekly dig, where people gather and have a conversation about world events, sort of like the pub. And as the mod in that situation, it will be respect based. Like, there's no ad hominem. You're not there to just shit on people. And this server is not in that headspace. So I'm creating a space that goes against the flow of the people on the server. And if I do that, I have to be willing to accept the loss.
Are they asking you to create the space? How did you come to be the person
I've been
creating the
asking
space?
to do certain events to bring more energy and concepts to the server, and they know me because of my work in other servers, so they just threw staff at me. So they said, go ahead, create events. And so now I have the freedom to do these things, but I have a roadblock in my mind, because I know what can happen when I impose my will and concept into a group space, especially when my standard is more difficult to achieve.
Part of that is leadership. You're trying to show leadership.
Leadership steps on toes. That's right. Because people that want
Um,
to be assholes are going to be assholes. And when you tell them they can't be an asshole, guess what happens?
they become an asshole.
They become Super Saiyan.
Uh, Um, what? So they didn't come to you and say, "Hey, RW, we want this cool space where everybody could talk." They just said, "Hey, we trust you to create events," and so you have this idea that one of those events can be a discussion space.
That's correct.
But now you
I,
have to figure out how to insert it into this group that's not necessarily wired
I
for
know
that
how to
yet.
do all that. I can create the event. I can show up. I can be myself, because I've done it in multiple servers. But I just know that it's going to step on toes, because normally they're having conversations in all their other spaces where they're absolutely not even trying to be respectful whatsoever. So it's more like a social experiment for me. I don't care if I lose the ability to create events because I tried to get people to be respectful. That doesn't mean anything to me. It's just a matter of, do I want to spend the time and energy?
Right.
Because it is
How are you
it
how
is
do you plan to pull it off?
it's psychologically taxing. How am I going to pull? So basically, you know how Discord has debate stages as
Mhm.
opposed to a
No.
normal VC? Okay, so once you
No, I
set your
didn't.
server up a certain way, you have the ability to have these special stages that are called debate stages. And everybody can join it, but you have to welcome them to the stage to be able to talk. So they can sit in the bottom in the audience and talk in the chat, and the chat goes wild, and they can raise their hand, and then you can bring people up to the stage. It's used for more one-on-one official type
It's in
debates.
voice?
It's voice chat, yeah. And
Okay.
so the concept is, instead of having a normal voice chat where I have to mute people, I'll welcome people up on the stage. They'll be welcome on the stage until they shit the bed and start going ad hominem and going after people. Then they'll just get dropped down to the audience, and they can bitch in the chat.
Are you doing one-on-one, like one at a time?
My goal is to have as many people on the stage at one time as possible that can figure out how to communicate with each other respectfully.
So you're basically doing what I do. You're doing an open panel, and then
I'm
if
doing
they
an open
break
panel
cross
with
the
a different
guidelines, they
thing.
get booted.
That's right. But it's different than a normal VC where they just get muted, because they can still be in there and they can still say and stuff, talk in the chat and be a part of that crew, but there's consequence for being an asshole.
You
So
just have to make the lines very clear. and
Correct.
I would keep them as broad as possible. The less, the better, so that people have a lot of room to move. And
The
you
only
can't
rule,
force respect, but you can create the conditions for it to happen, and hopefully it emerges.
yeah, the literal only rule is no ad hominem. No attacking someone else's character. Attack the concept, not the person. That's the whole of the law. And
That's
if
a
people are able
reasonable
to do
rule.
that, yeah, it's just a willpower or not. You're either going to have
What
willpower to do it or
you'll
not.
be making a few examples out of some of them, and then after enough examples, I think it'll drive the message home.
If people are interested in that type of conversation, it'll work just fine. And I've had that experience in large servers before, but if the group is not that group, then it's just going to crash and burn, and that will
So
be
the
the
group
experience.
themselves may not want this.
That's correct.
They might want the ad hominems.
That's right. And they can go back to the other voice chat that's active and do that. So it's not like I'm limiting their free speech. It's just
Yeah.
I'm creating an event that is different, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think as long as you communicate that and what the guidelines are, and maybe even do like a warning, like the first warning, and then you're booted, so that they have a chance
I'm
to
not
learn.
a hard ass. Yeah, I want people to be able to be a part of the group. I don't like flinging people out of a catapult as soon as they do something wrong, unless they're the type of person that comes out swinging, and you know what I mean. Those, you're not even questioning if they have the ability. They're there to cause as much chaos as possible in a short period of time.
Well, I consider those the trolls. They're not there for discussion to begin with.
That's right. That's
They
right.
have a whole other agenda.
Some trolls are big and hairy and look just like trolls. Other ones are a little sneakier. I prefer the sneakier ones. They're a little more intelligent. They're wittier. You got to figure out what they're doing.
Yeah, sometimes those are harder to spot. Those are the ones that sneak past me.
Right. You're more trusting than I am. I think that.
Well, it costs me little to trust for that reason, because I have the button. I can just eject them anytime. So,
Yeah,
like, I can give them as much rope as I want, and then whatever they do with it.
hang themselves. Yeah. Make a rope bridge.
But I pull people off of here all the time when they cross my guidelines.
When it comes to beating the game for YouTube, I can't see them staying with their new algorithm. I think they're screwing around with it, but YouTube seems to be kind of in a fluid state. They can't really make up their minds. So for the time being, I don't know if there's a solution. Just to, like, have a good time. And
well, I don't want to be dependent on the algorithm anyway. My goal is to get the word out to enough humans that people want to come here and be here, regardless of what the algorithm's doing. If they want to see the show enough, they know how to find me. Like, they know how to find me. They can actively come and look for me. But then you yourself said you didn't even know I was going to be live today because it didn't show up
because I
on your
don't
feed.
go into your live tab, because I would click on your name. Usually would just come up first in my feed, because whatever you do the most, it's right at the top.
Yeah, that's how it's supposed to work.
And then you had to click on like your thumbnail, and then it would be at the top of that. And now it's like you got to click on your thumbnail, go to view channel, and go to the live thing. So yes, it is there. You were correct, but I'm not used to that.
That's why I'm trying to get, if people just show up at a certain time every day, I will be here reliably. They don't even have to look for me. They can just turn on YouTube at 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific every day and reliably know that I'm going to be here. Unless, like yesterday, I had to take the day off.
I understand the concept, but it could be that the time of day doesn't work for everybody as well, because I'm blessed enough to be able to lock in at 3 p.m. every day pretty solidly and dedicate an hour. Other people on the East Coast are at work, like it could be a time as well.
Well, I'm willing to be flexible, but this is the time in the past that's also worked as well. So there's no way I'm going to get a window that hits everybody. So if
that's true,
if the time is the barrier, I can move the time, but I would need to hear from enough people that we will reliably watch your show if you move it to this time instead. I'm perfectly willing to do that.
I think game night is something where you can kind of see without that how many people are showing up. There's two variables. One is the content. The content's fun and games instead of intellectual conversation. And two, it's 5 hours later than the normal stream.
And it also brings about half the viewers, like 2.
Oh, okay. Consistently?
Yeah, like nobody shows up for the games except for the
Oh.
people that are playing the games because they
That's
want
unfortunate.
content, they want conversation, they want personalities.
Well, that's too bad because the game is another opportunity for conversation and personalities and creativity. And you don't have to sit there and hammer facts. You can just live in make believe. I like having both options.
Yeah, I do too. There's part of the problem. I've had this from the start is I'm doing like 5 or 6 or 7 different types of content all in one channel. So most people would separate this into separate channels, or it would be more structured and compartmentalized. And so I draw 3 or 4 different audiences at different times. It's not just one consistent audience that comes for one type of content.
Right. I don't see why that would be a problem really, because it's a club and you hang out at the club for whatever the club event is.
It's not if you structure it the right way to where the game audience knows where to find us reliably for the games, the chat audience knows where to find us for the conversations. But right now it's just me going live and people show up to see what's going to happen, like what type of live is it this time. So I'd have to have like a calendar, and on this day this is what the content's going to be, on this day this is what the content's going to be.
I disagree. I think that I know that this time of the day, when the 3 p.m. for me is a certain type of content. It's more intellectual based, and if it's a nighttime stream, it's more open panel hanging out.
Yeah, but the game stream is something separate from both of those too.
But even when you do night streams, other days when it's not game night, it's usually like an open panel hanging out.
Which I might do tonight, by the way.
That's fair. If I do the social experiment type thing, it'll be pretty late too.
Oh, you haven't decided? You haven't set it up yet? I think you should do it. Like, you should at least try it.
Once I have a couple beers in me, I'll probably dedicate to being social. But when I'm sober, I'm less motivated to deal with people's bullshit. But when I've had a couple drinks, I'm more than happy to just be hanging out. Whatever happens, happens.
Is there going to be a specific topic? Like, is it going to be moderated?
Whatever's in the last week. I mean, I know that when I bring up Artemis Project, that there's going to be a flat Earth debate. I know when I bring up Pam Bondi, there's going to be a Trump debate. I know there's certain things that have happened in the last week that are going to bottleneck. People will organically bottleneck into the hot topics that everyone talks about all the time. But I still have things that I want people to at least glance over and talk about before they go headstrong right into their talking points.
That's what I do. I give little seeds and let them take it wherever they take it. I'm not tied into any one particular topic.
And there's also like branching out, not just politics and world events, but like media, movies, media, music. I've had great success talking with people about music, movies, anime. A lot of the younger guys and girls love anime. I don't know shit about it, but they get into it and go for a while. And as long as the group's having a good time and they're kind of steering themselves, I no longer have to feel like what I wanted was important. I'm there to kind of like be a catalyst and keep it going, or course correct if it needs to be. But it's the group that shows up that usually creates the event.
Mm-hmm. That's how this is too. That's it. That's how I wanted it. I want it to be community driven.
I have
you're doing it.
I'd like to see it grow. I'm not expecting any shared space that I've been a part of has always been small. So there's definitely your friend was right. His space doesn't struggle, and you were right. It's because of what they do in that space. So I'd like to see intellectual spaces where people are able to have a conversation if they disagree grow. I would love. I'd be over the moon. I'd be like the Artemis. I'm just not expecting it.
Maybe. Do you think there's just less of a demand for that?
I don't understand why people would not be willing to care about someone besides themselves.
I don't know if it's that so much as the other spaces are just more exciting. There's more heat and energy to the drama stuff, like the Jerry Springer content, than
But
there
I
is
think pride
to
is
like a
attached to that.
PBS NewsHour type of content.
I think it's a pride selfish thing. I think it's a how good can you make yourself look and how bad can you make somebody else look? That's the game.
You mean the drama game?
The drama game is pride. It's who can come out on top and who can they push to the bottom. That's what I see it as.
But whatever it is, whatever's driving it, whatever the mechanism is, maybe there's just more people that are looking for that or wired for that than
I think
people
pride
that
is
want to sit
addicting.
around and
How addicting is it to challenge yourself to become a better person versus believe that you're the best person you can be and everyone else sucks?
I don't know, because I'm not
I
the
think
drama people.
yeah, I think it's easier to
I
it's easier-
connect over conversation and getting to know a person. And so that's why I do the type of channels I do. I don't connect over all the drama.
right. I think it's easier
But a
to
lot of
point-
them, the drama channels are very tribal, and people will hate bond against the different tribes. And so if there's one person that enough people hate, all of those people will start to feel bonded like a community together. And so it's like going to church. It's like hanging out with your tribe. It's getting that social hit that you get from being with people that are all united against the same enemy that you are. It's much more tribal. The drama channels are much more tribal.
It's a strange kumbaya.
I just know that they have way more numbers and the algorithm is geared more toward what kind of content they're looking for.
Maybe the devil's in the details, Jeff.
But I don't think there's a lot of nerds out there to begin with, and I don't know if they're looking for other nerds to connect with over just
Why is it
conversation.
nerdy? Why is intellect nerdy?
I don't know. I didn't. Well, you think it's not?
I don't think intellect is nerdy. Nerdy is like someone that wants to explain to me how they built their computer. It's sort of like geeky. I put nerdy and geeky really close together. Like someone yeah.
Do you recognize that there are some people that are intelligent and value talking to other intelligent people, and other people that are not? Like it bores them, or they get exhausted, or it's just not their
Absolutely.
thing.
Absolutely. A lot of the times that I have my events, the normies leave because they don't feel like they have anything that they can talk about. They feel like they need to have all this knowledge and deep understanding of something to have a say, when they don't realize that we're all talking out of our ass. We're just comfortable with talking out of our ass. Like, yes, we can bring receipts and have a debate, but that doesn't really matter. What matters is organic honesty. Oh yeah. My son wanted to show you this. You can't be on camera, but I'll show you here, I'll take it. No. Don't sneak on the camera.
Oh my god! I used to have one of those as a kid. Is it a little plastic dinosaur set?
Yeah. Did it come out of one of those?
Yeah, they still make those. Oh my god, they had those around when I was a kid. Probably the same
You can
ones.
tell them something, but don't show yourself on the camera. Actually, I'll just do this in case. 1 second. You want to tell them something?
I found it from a digging dinosaur thing, and then my dad told me that you liked pterodactyls, and he said he wanted somebody to make a pterodactyl noise, so I did it.
Can we hear your noise? Oh my god, dude! I think that's the best one yet. That sounded like a real pterodactyl.
Good job, man.
That was good.
All right, he's off.
A dinosaur nut? Oh my god, I was such a dinosaur nut growing up. That was my favorite toy. I had the whole dinosaur playset, the cavemen, the palm trees, all of it.
I kind of ruined that for them, but They do like toys, and they like make believe and playing, but I think Minecraft and Lego Men is their thing. Like creating
You mean
worlds.
actual Lego blocks, or is that a video
Yeah,
thing?
no, the legit Lego but it's more than the Lego building blocks now. It's all about the miniatures, all the little minifigures. They've got all the accessories, and they'll just sit there and build like an army of little Lego men.
Oh. Yeah,
But the creativity of a child it's a beautiful thing. I wish that, and I'm trying to be able to step out of the conversations that we have and just step back and appreciate that, like just to be in the moment and experience the moment instead of thinking and knowing what I know, because it matters sometimes, but other times I have to appreciate that it doesn't matter. What I know and believe doesn't matter sometimes.
Yeah, maybe. I guess it depends on what level
When
of
you're hanging
Zoom
out
you're
with little
looking at.
kids, when you're hanging out with little kids,
None of that matters.
it doesn't matter. Sometimes it matters, like if they're going to hurt themselves, and that's very important, yes. But to hammer down reality 24/7 to a kid, no, that's where I'm doing it wrong. And it's really hard to step outside of that mentality. Let them be.
I'm on the kid side because I was that way myself, but I also think that I didn't have enough adults trying to hammer reality home for me, and I suffered for it.
Interesting. Well, mine's heavy balanced on the other
But
side.
at the same time, the ones that did try, it didn't go like it. There was a lot of resistance. It didn't go well. So
you still remember it?
Oh yeah, I remember everything from my
So it
childhood.
had value.
Yeah, I just didn't absorb any of it. Like I wish I had let more adults orient me to reality. But I was not interested in doing that as a kid.
At the time, so you didn't absorb the information at the time, but you remember the information and it had value later in time?
No, that's what I'm saying. I didn't. The people tried to do it. I resisted. I wasn't interested in it. So therefore, as an adult, I am without the benefit of that information now. Like I did not let them orient me to reality.
Well, damn.
So you're trying to do like you're saying that maybe do less of that and let them be a child. And I'm saying that's what people did with me, and I think I suffered a bit for that. Like
I'm just
I
trying to find the
should have
balance,
gotten a
that's
little
all.
bit more of it than I did. But at the same time, I'm glad I got a full childhood.
Yeah.
I just don't know how well it served me in adulthood.
I don't know. If you're a functioning person in society,
I'm not.
You're
Or
not?
put it this way, there are people way more functioning than I am that did get all of that earlier.
I mean, I don't see you as a menace to society, so you have that going for you. If you're not as much of a benefit to society as you think you could be, well, then, good luck with that. But I'm not sure how much being allowed to be a child as a child really helped or didn't help you. Because being under a household where you're constantly being corrected all day long, I'm sure that causes problems as well. So it's the balance of all things that I'm trying to figure out before they move out of the house. Because
Are you doing it alone, or you have other people?
No, there's other people, but then that also causes problems because not everybody has the same view of what that all should be. So group cohesion is complicated, even amongst the family that's trying to do it, because our individual characters and our individual worldviews create conflict. So I was looking at something the other day, and it was basically saying a kid doesn't care about if he likes the rules or not. He cares about if you like them. So if they feel like you're not paying attention to them, like you're hanging on your screen or your phone or the internet or whatever too long, and you're not spending time with them, that's what matters in the end of the day. If you get in a fight because they ripped their bed up and did something stupid or fought with their brother, all that fades away. But if they know that you don't want to spend time with them, that's where, when they get old enough, they're going to return the favor and not worry about spending any time with you.
Do they want to spend time with you?
Yeah. I'm very selfish when it comes to being able to, like I said, just step out of my reality and just be a kid. I suck at it. I don't know why I'm so bad at it, but because of that, I'm not good at hanging out with them. So
You seem good at it when
lucky.
we were playing D&D and stuff. You're able to do it.
Right, but at the same time, there's this barrier where, and like I feel in my mind, until they're a certain age, I can't be completely open with them and just allow them to experience everything. I feel like I have them behind this wall so that they can be themselves and not know certain things until a certain age. And then once they're that age, onboarding that information, and then everything's just out in the open.
Is some of it you like your authority? Like you can't fully be a kid with them because you have to maintain yourself as an authority figure?
Sometimes I think I'm just an asshole, more of an authority figure, but
Well,
it's more a matter of knowledge. There's things that I believe an adult can know and talk about and be a part of, and there's things that and some of those things I don't want my kids to know and be a part of until they're an adult.
I agree. I think that too. There's definitely things that kids don't need to know about till a certain age.
Right. So hanging out and having fun with them and doing stuff like that, I feel like is hindered until that point in time. I have tried to dumb it down and make it like very kosher and everything, like do like a D&D without any of the like the occult or the and not with other people, because when you're on a panel with other people, like if they were around me, like one of them's around me right now, but I know you're good. If other were people on the panel, I'd be like, you got to go upstairs because anything can come out of their
Oh,
mouth at any moment, and it's just like, well,
yeah.
that's out of the bag.
This is definitely not for kids channel.
Right. And they
Although
and
what my first co-host, he brought his 1.5-year-old daughter on stream every day. She would sit on his lap and co-host with him for she'd have like over a year. She grew up on this panel.
some people do that. Hold on. Some people do that. I have a cousin that literally allows his kid to watch anything, like what's the one with 9, the girl that's like Stranger Things?
Oh
Stranger
yeah,
Things, Rick and Morty, stuff that I don't even feel comfortable watching. And so at a certain point in time in the future, I'll get to see how my kids think
how
and
that
how that
kid
kid
turned out.
thinks. Yeah, it's another experiment where it's like, all right, you're allowing full liberals experience all that, and other people have that view. Like Phil was on here the other day, and his mindset was just let them do it, just let them experience it. You don't rescue them all the time. At some point in time, I think that there's going to be kids that have very different mental structures and characters based on what they were allowed to experience as they grew up. I
They
could be
also might
wrong.
get it on their own
I could be
without
wrong,
you.
but I'm not going to gamble on that one. If I'm wrong, I think maybe I'm gambling. I don't know. I'm just comfortable with my
Well,
gambling.
I think every parent, I think, is using some kind of judgment in these issues. Like nobody knows for sure because kids are so individual anyway, and you don't know what to do with each individual kid, where to draw that line. But
Discipline and stuff
you
like
can
that. Yeah, I think the issue is more like sin. If a parent believes in morality and in the Bible and sin, that's going to cause a lot of input into what they believe the child should and shouldn't do. And if another person doesn't believe that sin's a thing and their moral structure is based on something completely different, all of a sudden a lot more stuff is most likely going to be allowed in that child's life, because the whole great controversy of good and evil doesn't really matter. It's just entertainment.
what is sin? Like, do they know not to lie, not to hit other kids, not to steal stuff? Like that was just basic morality for
The Ten
all of
Commandments are
us.
taught. The definition of sin in this household is is falling short of God's request for ourselves. So whatever
Based
is
on the
asked
Ten
of us,
Commandments.
the Ten Commandments is part of that. Yeah, there's more than the 10 Commandments though, but that is understood. Yes, but there's also spiritism, like Harry Potter and all that stuff. That's not welcome here.
Oh, well, do y'all celebrate Halloween or?
No, we don't do so. We don't do
Oh,
Christmas.
okay.
We don't do any of the holidays that have pagan roots.
I see
So
what you're saying.
So, I mean, Thanksgiving and appreciating family and what we're thankful for, absolutely. 4th of July, having appreciation for the United States of America, shooting some fireworks off, no problem.
Y'all are not
Dressing
doing
up,
Easter? There's no Easter bunny?
no Ishtar, no running around
No
after fertility
X-ray
goddess
hunt?
bunnies. So it's hard ass. A lot of people are going to disagree with it, but
But
we'll
they're
see what
also
happens.
homeschooled, right?
That's correct.
So they're not like at
Because
school every day seeing how the other kids live.
That's correct. They're not being taught a curriculum that I don't know, and they're not having free discourse with children that are part of this world that are most likely free access to the internet.
And they're getting all the Easter chocolate.
And I mean, it's not like they don't have access to junk food. We're just not hiding it in an egg under a tree. We're hiding it in the pantry.
So what about Santa? Do they know Santa or that?
Do you know? Did you hear him?
Oh no, I don't want to.
No, go ahead. No. Just tell him again, closer to the mic.
If you scramble up the letters, you can turn it into Satan.
Yeah, I saw that on the church lady growing up.
So there's your answer. They're going to be biased because of me.
So they're missing. That was so much a part of the magic of childhood. The Tooth Fairy, Santa, the Easter Bunny just made it magical. It was fun.
I understand there's parts of culture, but I mean, birthdays are a thing. Just gift giving as a love language is a thing. There's still things to look forward to as well, without the tradition.
And you can still do like they can still like fight dragons and pretend to be knights and stuff without the occult entering.
Yeah, that's my goal, and just stuff like that, and I'm fine with that. I'm just trying to. I made a new goal with my wife last night where we're not going to look at screens from 5:30 to 7:30 every day, and the Saturday I'm trying to make it where I'm off screens until sunset, so that I don't have that dopamine option in my hand, and it forces me to pay attention to what I should be paying attention to, and it's extremely difficult.
Well, it sounds like your priorities. It's just executing them.
That's right. Reaching the goals that I know are good goals.
But the more you do it, the more you model it for them.
Yeah, and what I'm currently modeling for them, I'm not even comfortable with. Like, yes, I believe that I'm right, but how I'm executing the communication and delivery is not what I want. So
it's going to get really weird once they get older and start socializing with other kids, and then hear all the other kids' versions of how they grew up and what versus how your kids grew up.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how that all goes. Once they're 16 to 18, I'm going to be onboarding a lot more information because they've had their chance to experience life. They've had their creative phases, what they got into, their hobbies, whatever. And then it's like, all right, guys, this is your world, and this is what's out there in the rest of the world. And there's more stuff that I don't even know about that you're going to be onboarded from other people, and you have to have an understanding of what you believe in, why, so that you're not blindsided when someone comes at you with their truth or story. And again, it's not about...
That sounds sensible.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's not about the tribalism of value and being better than other people. It's a matter of what is truth? Why do I believe that? So that you know how to have critical thinking. And when someone else gives you their truth and their story, you can ask them, why do you believe that? And if it doesn't add up, it shouldn't knock you out your foundation. But even
And
here,
that other person still has value,
yeah,
even if the beliefs are different.
that's right. And even here amongst adults, we know how difficult it is to have a linear conversation and hear a direct answer. So I really want them to be able to know how to ask questions and realize when those questions are not being answered. To not be hoodwinked by someone that's going to distract them or deceive them in a direction and act like they got the higher ground. No. Just give them a salute and be like, have a good day, sir. Not interested.
And also, like, puberty is going to change a lot of things too if they haven't hit that yet. Oh,
starting for the older one. But I'm not worried about it. I think that phase 2 is going to be my cup of tea, and I can handle it and communicate with it and deal with it way better than the chaos of phase 1.
well, and also you are at least attempting to be some kind of father in ways that a lot of dads are not even doing what you're doing. Even if you're not doing it perfect or getting it wrong, or where you are at least trying to do the role.
Why? You mean just being around, period?
No, just trying to parent.
Oh,
trying to specifically play the role of father.
I guess I'd have to hear from them. I don't know. I don't know many guys in my life that haven't been a father.
Because, well, a part of the big crisis in men is the lack of fathers, or not having the right fathers or good fathers, the absence of any kind of positive father, anybody that tried to even be a father. So you're at least, he's at least not going to suffer from that.
Hey, John. I know that when I was in high school, a large majority of parents of my friends were divorced, like a very large, like more than half. So if that's trending and that's still a thing,
Yeah, he's not going to be able to say I didn't have a father or I didn't have a dad that tried to be a dad.
He'll be able to say I had a dad. I didn't agree with him all the time, that's for sure. But he was there. Annoyingly. He was annoyingly always there.
That's going to count for a lot, or at least
we'll see.
I didn't grow up with a father at all, and I definitely, my life shows for it. And I had a stepfather, but he didn't have the same. He tried, but not at the same level that you're trying with your son. There just wasn't as much of that investment.
I don't know. Yeah, I was in a relationship before I got married, and she had a kid, and I tried to relate to the kid, but I couldn't do it. And
yeah, it was
I still have the same issue with my own biological children, but with my biological children, I can't check out.
Right.
Like, even if I suck at it and I'm doing a terrible job, I know that I got to keep doing that job. So for any stepdad out there, I kind of understand where their struggle with that.
But the fact that you were at least trying to continue to do the job, I'm saying, sets you apart. Just that alone stands out and is going to be valuable, because there's a lot of fathers that are not even doing that.
Well, to all the fathers out there that aren't even doing that, sounds lonely in the end. I think that this should be my departure point. I got one here that's
go spend time with your kid.
But yeah, I was hoping that someone would have joined the panel earlier. I would have ghosted out, but I was lucky I had time today. So I hope you enjoyed their topic and got out what you wanted to get out.
I'm glad you came up. I definitely appreciate it. This is what it's going to take to get this to grow. So thank you.
Yeah, I won't see you tomorrow. I'll be a day off, but I'll be back with you on Monday, dude.
Okay. Well,
see you.
Enjoy the pub. I may be out tonight, so enjoy whatever you do this weekend. I'd wish you happy Easter, but have a good weekend.
Yeah, I'll have a good weekend. Have a good weekend. Bye.
All right. Take care. All right, everybody. I guess that's it for today. I may be out tonight. I usually try to do some kind of Friday panel. I agree. Yes, fathers help. Good fathers help. And if in the absence of an actual real father, any kind of positive male role model will help, especially for men and boys. There's something that we can only get from other men, and if it's not there at an early age, we're going to miss out on it. Trust me. Right here, this one. There's so many things that I see guys that grew up with dads, just little basic things that they know how to do that I'm so lost with because I didn't have any kind of male figure to help me find that or give that to me. Unless you want to come up or you have another video, I don't have anything else to say really. Monday, I'm going to talk about science, and I'm going to talk about it from the perspective of closed and open myths, because I think a lot of people's criticism of science is actually something that's not science itself, but it's a closed version of the institutional mythology that grows up around science and how science is used, but that's not actually science itself. So science is part of the myth of freedom, but the myth of freedom itself can also become closed. And I think that's where a lot of people's criticisms and distrust and mistrust of science is directed at. It's a closed version of a scientific mythology and not science itself, which is one of the greatest tools we have for freedom and openness. So I want to cover that on Monday. I may do a panel tonight. I'm going to be out tomorrow at the same time, 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific. Tell everybody that's my new time. We're going to do a just panel tomorrow, just open panel, social, whatever you want to talk about, show up. We'll cut up and have fun and do our thing on Saturday. So other than that, that's it for me today. Unless anybody else has anything else. Have a good rest of your Friday. If I don't see you tonight, I will see you tomorrow, 3 p.m., noon Pacific. All right, let me send you on your way. Take care, everybody. Hang on. Happy Good Friday and happy Easter.